Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 130. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benezowitz. Don't forget, guys, make sure you follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And wherever you might be listening, download Bad Weather Fans. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yes, please download all the episodes on all podcast apps, especially Apple. And we are also sponsored by Dolan J. Trump, our president, at Dolan_J_Trump. Over the past 4 years, President Dolan J. Trump has delivered for Knicks fans like never before, repealing the triangle, rebuilding our depleted defense, and constructing the league's biggest salary cap space force. And now, here's your chance to show your support for the MKGA movement with the official Dolan J. Trump line of merchandise. Visit DolanJTrump.com now for the hottest t-shirts and more designed personally by your favorite president. Plus, get 20% off your order when you use your promo code BWF. That's our promo code, but it's your promo code too. BWF, 20% off. Visit DolanJTrump.com now and help make the Knicks great again. Mike.
And looking forward to having our merch from Dolan J. And that'll be
stuck
with
in
us
the mail,
shortly.
right? Yeah.
We'll be wearing that and rocking that. But yeah, go ahead. He makes great clothes, great hats, great shirts. And if you're Jets, Mets, beyond Knick fan, I guess if you're a Net fan,
Rangers.
I don't know if he has anything there for you, but if you want to buy, nope, there's nothing Net stuff. Try to think of stuff. But if you're into the other teams, you're all set. Use promo code BWF, get 20% off. Alex,
right?
What up? There was, I guess, some sort of news with the Knicks, which we'll talk about in a second. I do want to tease the fact that we're going to do a little role playing, you and I, later on in this episode.
Not that kind of role
this is a major, no, nothing like that. Okay. And if you want to see this, come onto YouTube. You can check out the whole video. Anyway, we're going to play a little role playing where you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, where there's so many hot takes now. It's been like, there's nothing left and a lot of senses to say on all the information that's been put out there about
topics
Durant.
Are stale. Yes, yeah.
And we do a great job keeping them fresh.
Yes,
but we'll keep them fresh this way. We said, you know what? Why not try to keep this information fresh? We'll do a little role reversal. So what we're going to do is on some hot topics, I'll be Mr. Knick defender. You'll be Mr. Nets defender. And we got a friend of the show, Lee Valentin, will join us. He'll host the program. He'll be the celebrity host for this, feeding us questions that will lend themselves to answers, well, where you will not be used to us hearing us say the answers to what we're being asked. This is a majorly produced segment. We've got two writers, we've got a host, and then we've got us, the guest. Lead writer, Dolan J. Trump, co-writer, Evan Roberts, who helped out, and then our host, Lee, who will be joining us moments, and then you and I will go back and forth. I'll be defending my Knicks. You'll be defending your Nets.
It'll be opposite day. It's an opposite day game show. Put it that way.
Like role playing.
Yes.
You're into opposite day. So we'll do that.
I explained everything with opposite day. You went on for 30 seconds about how to explain it, but it's okay. We got it. It's opposite day.
Yeah, it's opposite day. I don't know. I think people understand what role playing is. Like, there's role playing.
Yes, there is.
Making you uncomfortable. All right. So
yes, I'm very uncomfortable.
So yesterday, so on today's Thursday. No, today's Wednesday. On Tuesday. But today's Wednesday. It's
but you'll be listening to this on Thursday. So
not necessarily.
We can say Thursday. Yeah, I guess.
What if you download on Friday?
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm thinking.
Or you're listening later on in 3 months from now when Jane Robinson, who's a big fan of the podcast, listens. It's a Wednesday. Anyway, let me shut up.
Right.
Yesterday,
so August 18th and beyond, you'll be listening.
Holy shit.
To this. Yes.
We had a Shams finally had some information that the Knicks and the Jazz are engaged in talks again. And
we're back.
Here we are. Are you excited, Alex?
I am. I am excited because the main reason why I've been upset is that the Knicks have not been negotiating or actively calling or according to reports. And Windhorse said it. He said, "Have a nice summer." And that's him saying that nothing's going to happen this summer. And that was annoying to me. And I didn't like the fact that Knicks fans were spinning that into a genius move. As we're negotiating by not negotiating. If we just don't do anything, they'll come back to us. Like, this is not a restricted free agent. Like, the Knicks the Jazz don't have to come back to the Knicks. And that's what was driving me crazy. If the Knicks are engaged with Donovan Mitchell and they put their best offer forward and it's a fair offer and one that the Jazz will accept or could accept, then I have no problem with it. But don't give me some BS Mets, like a Wilpon era Mets offer. Like, oh, we were in on David Cone to come back. Like, okay, buddy, you put an offer in at the last day. Like, it was some BS offer. It wasn't even close. Just give me something real. And if they don't get him, fine. But then you got to get rid of Julius Randle. You can't come into next season with Julius Randle and that without Donovan Mitchell. Then it's the biggest buzzkill start to a season. That's what I have to say. So I'm happy, yes, that the Jazz and the Knicks are re-engaging in conversation as per Tony Jones and Shams.
Danny Ainge is pain in the ass, right? This guy is such a pain in the ass. Knick fans, you should just be able to celebrate, relax. Donovan Mitchell should be on the team right now. You're going out to the beach, you're having a pina colada, you're relaxing. You're listening to Bad Weather Fans, and you're downloading. You should be listening to Alex talking about how is Donovan Mitchell going to fit in the rotation. But this damn Danny Ainge is such a pain in the ass that he's asking for too much stuff. And now you have the Knicks organization, the Knicks brass, that can't go all in and have to negotiate the long game because the timing was terrible. And now Knick fans are all going to be, you got two Knick fans. One's going to be like, it's fine. Give it time. I trust everything. Eventually, Danny will give in. Then you got the other Knick fans going, be careful because somebody can swoop in with another deal. It's inevitable. Like, this guy's going to be on the Knicks. Just a matter of time. It's just a matter of, is it the 3 draft picks or the 4 draft picks? Is it Quickly? Is it Grimes? I don't know. Toppin. We can make a whole rhyme with the whole thing. It's only a matter of time. Relax, Alex. Before you know it, you're going to have the best Knicks player on your roster since Patrick Ewing.
Yeah. You think he's better than Melo?
I was just making sure you're paying attention, and clearly you weren't.
No, I was looking something up because I thought I saw today that he will be. Donovan Mitchell's going to be at the Rucker tomorrow or Thursday when you're listening to this. So if you want to go see him, you can see him there. But also, it's just another example of something we've been talking about on the show. Donovan Mitchell's out and about in New York way more than he is and has been in the past. I know we had the pandemic, but I don't recall him being at this many Mets games, throwing out first pitches of the Brooklyn Cyclones, going to the Rucker Park, being at the what? This guy is screaming, "Get me to the Knicks," without actually saying, "Get me to the Knicks." And I think he's doing that to help out the Jazz because he really probably loves the organization and is only looking to get traded because they want to do a full rebuild. So I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, man, if you want to come here, just say it, dude. Just say it.
He's been very good about not opening up to the media, unlike other players in the area that, have gone to reporters and said, I want to trade, like Kevin Durant. He has not done any of that.
I haven't heard that.
And he's done all the right things behind the scenes. And like I said, I don't blame him if he wants out of there, considering Utah is going into full rebuild mode and he would just be kind of lost in the abyss with the Utah Jazz. They're stuck there. And if he's on the roster, fighting to make a play-in game or whatever it might be. So I get it, wanting to come to the Knicks. The Knicks put themselves in a good position where they're more attractive than they have been. I've said this before on the podcast. I think if this was 3 or 4 years ago, Donovan Mitchell would say, I don't want to go to the Knicks because it's a disaster. Now they're just in rebuild mode and have shown promise. So it's a little easier for him to get there. I agree. I don't remember exactly. Like, I'd be lying if I told you I had a count on 2018 Donovan Mitchell and what he did in July and August. I couldn't tell you, but it does feel like that he is out and about in the area and is doing kind of like tourist attraction stuff. I will say it does feel like he is doing that a lot. And I would say, I think that's intentional. I really do. I think when you have no power and nothing that you can show for it, like I said, I can't demand a trade, but what can I do? Like I can go to the top of the Empire State Building. Like, you need to put together like Donovan Mitchell's tourist trip to New York. Here he is at Katz's Deli. Oh my God, look at this. This is so great. Here's Donovan Mitchell at FAO Schwartz. Like, all these cliche New York things for
Mhm.
Donovan Mitchell, he can go, oh boy, here he is at the Statue of Liberty. Hey, he's holding up like a United States flag. Like,
Yeah.
let me think of all the cliche things. Like, let's email Donovan Mitchell. Here's a list of things you can do in the next 3 weeks to show how much of a New Yorker you really are.
Yeah, I was just laughing to myself also while you were saying that, because it's like I'm thinking of like a tour, like when you go to a concert, you get the tour dates, and you can be like Donovan Mitchell in New York City. He's at a Mets Yankees game, Brooklyn Cyclones game.
Yep.
He's at the Rucker Park.
Seriously.
It's all these places.
It really feels
Like, where
that.
could he be next? I mean, you know, is he probably gonna go to a Liberty playoff game? They just won a
Yeah.
game, you know what I mean? Probably gonna go to one of those. That'd be great. And that'll
What
be
is
at the
it?
Barclays, though. That's I'll look out for that.
Oh my God. Well, Obi Toppin went to a game. He was at
That's
the
it.
Barclays.
He's gonna go to the Nets then. That's confirmed. You know, Obi Toppin to the Nets.
No.
You know, but I just find it funny that I want to ask you a question about this as an outsider, but you're kind of an insider with the Knicks now. But I want to, like, you know what's going on. But I was arguing with Knicks fans yesterday on Twitter, or now 2 days ago, when you're listening to this, at Knicks Central.
Stop with that. I mean,
Dolan fans are convinced that James Dolan is not involved, and I think that's BS. And what do you think? Do you think I understand him not?
What do you mean not involved?
Okay, so I understand that Leon Rose has control of this organization and personnel decisions, right? James Dolan doesn't care if Farrah Hunt is on the roster. He doesn't care about Deuce McBride. He might not even care about Jalen Brunson. You want to bring back Jalen? His dad was cool. Okay, bring him back. Whatever. I don't think he cares about that. But for a potential franchise-altering move like Donovan Mitchell, James Dolan is being briefed every single day on this situation. There's no way he doesn't know. It's like a quarterback of an NFL team. If you're telling me James Dolan is not involved, you just aren't paying attention to who this man is. I don't care what's going on in Vegas. The Knicks are his baby, okay? And that's what I think. So I want to know what you think, Mike Bisegli, as a Nets fan. Is James Dolan involved?
Yeah, is he briefed every day on the day-to-day of where the wind blows in the Mitchell negotiations? Probably not. But is he going to be involved in the final say? Is he giving information on if he's in or out of it? Of course he is. You nuts? Yeah, there's Knicks fans that don't think he's just like kind of in the distance going, okay, if you make the deal, great. If you don't worry. Here's some orange slices. Good luck out there on the GM calls. Let me give you a little back rub. No, Leon Rose, come here. You want me to rub your feet and make sure you feel good for this so you're all relaxed when you talk to Danny? Of course he's involved. I'm not saying he's in the war room going like, is it the third pick or the fourth pick?
Like Jerry Jones or something?
No. But to say he has no involvement on this is silly.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I just feel like, you know, and he's not selling. It's a business tactic to make money on it, make his company worth more, the shareholders worth money, but more by like want to pay more for the shares because they think they might have a chance to buy the team, like Steve Cohen with the Mets, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe he'll sell. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. That's what happened a couple of years ago. So whatever. The other thing I wanted to bring up also with the Knicks real quick before we get to the Nets was this idea that the Knicks are always fleeced on trades. Like, the time needs to change, that we shouldn't be fleeced on trades anymore. When was the last time the Knicks were fleeced on a trade, Mike? When was the last time?
I don't know, Alex. Tell me.
Well, it's got to be, you date back. I actually looked this up. Probably Bargnani. And do you know when the Bargnani trade was, Mike?
Oh, at this point, I don't 2012. I don't know.
2013, you were close. That's 9 years ago. Close. 9 years ago was the last time the Knicks were fleeced on a trade. You know, it's so crazy. Like, you can talk about, you know, maybe the Calderon and Dallenberg trade for Tyson, but that was 2014. Fine. You want to do that? It's 8 years ago. But then you can't count the Shumpert and J.R. Smith trade for because they were trying to tank for Towns, and Melo was getting surgery. We know that story, but they ended up with Porzingis, etc. You can't count that one. You know, because you were trying to tank, and you got Lance Thomas in that trade. So, you know, whatever, but I'm just kidding. But 9 years ago, right? 9 years ago, whichever one you want to pick, is the last time the Knicks got fleeced in a trade. They've made a lot of good trades since then. To act like the Knicks have always getting fleeced in trades and now's the time to stop, and we're no longer going to just let guys come in here and screw us over. It's been so long since they've been actually screwed over on a trade to continue this narrative that they have been screwed on trades all the time. You're just giving in to the stupid media brainwash of it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years. They were in the playoffs last season. They were in the playoffs 3 years with Melo. It's been 9 years since they blew a trade. Lay off. All right. You don't have to make up these fairy tales of why you want Donovan Mitchell for less than what Danny Ainge is looking for. Obviously, you want to pay for him what you think he costs, and you want to try to get the best deal possible. But stop making up stories that the Knicks are always fleeced on trades, because it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I would say the Knicks have sucked a lot, not because they're fleeced on. I mean, they've been fleeced before in the past. It's happened, but the Knicks have been bad for a bevy of reasons, for not drafting well with their lottery picks, having management that's been a disaster, and really not being able to develop young players has been a critical part of their inability to get better of recent years. Like, Kevin Knox, bust, Ntilikina, bust. I mean, that's been a major problem. So I hear you on that. I mean, I think there's just a stereotype and a stigma that gets stuck with teams and stuck with players, where it's funny too, though, because you're talking about Knick fans making these proclamations, and it's again, self-fulfilling prophecy of like, oh, the media is hard on us, but we'll be hard, we'll do the same kind of thing. Well, I mean, it's so don't get mad at the media, I guess, if Knick fans are going to make the same kind of proclamations. I do have some Mitchell breaking news. Just saw he was in Central Park.
Oh, close. Let me know when he goes to the Midtown Tunnel, then I'll be right there. But it's also crazy how, like, just to stay on this one more thing, we praise the Knicks for the Porzingis trade. We praise the Knicks for the Derrick Rose trade with the Pistons. Some fans, not me, praise the Knicks for these draft day trades. We praise the Knicks for the Melo trade with Oklahoma City, and how you wanted him to show up to camp, and then you ended up getting a second-round pick that turned into Mitchell Robinson. Like, we praise the Knicks for all these moves, but then you're going to sit there on the same time at the other side of your mouth and tell me that the Knicks are always fleeced on trades. I don't want to hear it. Like, yes, you get the best deal possible with Donovan Mitchell, but stop making up stories that they get fleeced all the time, because then you're just as bad as the guys on ESPN that you sit there and you mock all day on Twitter.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree. Knick fans bad. I agree with that very much. But I'm glad you got that out of your system, and hopefully we'll see if they get fleeced. 87 first-round picks reported in the Donovan Mitchell trade. 87 first-round picks.
Until we have grandkids, Knicks won't have any picks or swaps.
Kevin Durant still on the Nets. Kyrie Irving still on the Nets. I thought this Brian Windhorst quote was interesting, and I'll read some of it real fast for everybody. The other negotiation that is now developing is between Durant and the Nets. That separate negotiations about what it would look like for him to come back. That's what a big part of the discussion he had with owner Joe Tsai in London about 10 to 11 days ago. Was Joe Tsai and the Nets believe they have a really good team. They don't believe they have a good trade for Kevin Durant. They want him to consider coming back, but Durant has very clearly made it known he doesn't want to play for the Nets under the current situation with the current coach and the current GM. So here's the questions. You have to ask yourself, what is the avenue? What is the path for Kevin Durant to move forward with the Nets? Because he's been told on trade, he's been told no on firing Steve Nash, and he's been told no on firing Sean Marks. So where does he go from here? It does feel like he's kind of stuck, because the Nets I don't believe they'll budge on Sean Marks, and I don't believe they'll budge on Coach Nash, and the Nets aren't budging on giving up Kevin Durant for what they don't feel like is an equal value or some sort of return that they want. So right now he's kind of in limbo, where he's just kind of to the side. He's not getting what he wants, and he's just stuck there. Richard Jefferson said last week on our podcast, Bad Weather Fans, the human nature side of things, like, does that give in where Durant and the owners eventually give in and he's traded? I don't know. It feels like the Nets are really, really steadfast on not giving Kevin Durant what he wants and not making a trade. And maybe he'll just end up being stuck because there's nothing else he can do about it, or retire.
Yeah, well, he said he's not retiring, which was stupid. And that, yeah, I know, and that was stupid, because now he lost his leverage of the risk of retiring, because, you never know with these guys, with Kyrie and Durant, they're kind of like out there. They would be like, screw it, I'll go play ball in China. Kind of, they just want to play ball. They'll play ball in Canada, they'll play ball in Brazil and then Argentina. Who cares? But they're now the Nets know they got him, and I think the Nets need to make Durant look good publicly so he doesn't come back with his tail between his legs, because Durant probably has an ego, and like everybody, we got a big ego, like we said the last episode. That's what they got, like Kanye says. And yeah, it's just, he looks like a fool, and they need to make him not look like a fool if they want to bring him back. They have to give him something, and they're not going to fire Nash and Marks. Joe Tsai already said that, so he can't look like a fool and go back on that now, even though he did look like a fool and go back on the Kyrie mandate thing. So maybe he doesn't even care, but they have to give Durant something. Like you fire Nash, but you keep Marks. Like, you got to do something to make him feel better, of like, whatever that is. You would know better than me. What is it? Hire his best friends and assistant. They've done that. You know what I mean? Like, what else is there?
Right. I think it's easier to fire Nash than it is to fire Sean Marks.
Right.
And it would actually be a much better decision as an organization to go that route. There's a lot of Net fans that would say, okay, this Steve Nash thing, self-included, didn't work. So even if it wasn't a Kevin Durant decision, getting rid of Steve Nash would be one that all Net fans would like and say, okay, I think we've made this organization better regardless of what happens with Kevin Durant. Now, firing Sean Marks, I think, would be a much more difficult task. The guy's embedded in the franchise. He helped bring him out of the abyss and put him into relevancy and did all of that. He did that. So I think for the Nets to go ahead and just cut Sean Marks because Kevin Durant wanted is probably impossible. But the Steve Nash thing, could you come up with an idea where you're like, all right, Steve, we'll just come up with some bullshit thing. You wanted to move on, blah, blah,
health
blah.
issues. Yeah.
I don't know if it's health issues, but just
make
something
it up.
like,
He's got migraines. He can't coach.
I don't want to be here
something.
anymore. Like we've decided I want to move on with my career.
Mutual interest. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody knows it's bullshit, but you figure it out. Sure. I
Jacques
think
Vaughn comes back or something, right?
I think Joe Tsai just doesn't want to give in.
Yeah.
And just said, hey, we'd love to have you back and we'd love to have you here, but I'm not firing my guys and you're going to have to deal with that. And I think at this point, like Kevin Durant, he can't hate Sean Marks because of his business decisions. He must just not like Sean Marks because Kevin Durant has given a lot of input on these plays, on these players and deals. Like to me, Kevin Durant must person to person just really dislike Sean Marks.
Yeah.
What else can he, like, from a management? Like, if you look at this Nets roster he comes back to right now, this is the best situation he has to come back to a team that would have a starting lineup of Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Nick Claxton, Joe Harris, with a bench of Seth Curry, TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal. Like, it's like a good roster.
You finally had a chance to build a roster around them. We got rid of Harden, got rid of Harden. It's just now you're building the back up from the BS of dropping him and getting him.
And he knows wherever he goes. Yeah. It's in Boston, maybe. Maybe if they don't give up too much.
Yeah, you're not
because Tatum's there. So you pair him with Tatum, you're going to be great.
But you got to gut the team to get Durant, and it's not going to be Tatum, Brown, and Smart with Durant. It's going to be Tatum.
Right. It's going to be Tatum. It's going to
be
the
worst Williams guy, not even Robert. It's Grant
be,
Williams, right?
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
They said they're not trading Robert Williams, right? Didn't they say that? Or there was a report that the Celtics won't trade Robert Williams. So
I did see that before, and there was also a report tonight that the Lakers had offered 2 unprotected firsts, and the Nets said no to that for Kyrie.
Well,
and I think Westbrook would be involved in that deal too.
A terrible deal. But I would say no to that too. Why would you want the Lakers? Oh yeah, I'm going to give LeBron Durant, and they're going to give the Kyrie. Oh, for Kyrie. But either way, like, why would I want 2 Lakers picks when I'm giving you Kyrie? Then you have Kyrie, LeBron, Anthony Davis. You know
terrifying.
What I mean? I know Anthony Davis had an off year, but he'll be. Listen, if he's the 3rd guy on the team. Like, what are we doing here? Why would the Nets do that and get the 32nd pick in the draft or the 30th pick in the draft? Like, oh, great, thanks.
If you had to at this point, Alex, I'll ask you a question.
No.
Do you think the Nets? Okay,
that's it.
Did you know my question?
No.
No, I said, do you think Durant's on the roster? Like,
no,
for real.
I don't. I think they're going to figure it out. I think he's got to go, and I think he's going to hold out. I don't think he's going to show up. I think it's gonna be the situation where I think there could be a situation sort of. I keep saying this, and I'm sorry for all the regular listeners, and thank you for listening, but you're gonna have to hear it again. I think it's gonna be comparable to the Melo situation with the Knicks. He had the no trade clause at the end, not before. He had the no trade clause. He was trying to exercise it, and the Knicks are like, "We have this trade with Oklahoma City in place. We want to trade you there." He's like, "I don't want to go there. I want to go to Chicago. I want to go here. I want to go there." We're like, "Well, that's great, but we're not going to trade you there." Like, we're going to trade you to Oklahoma City. And he was like, no. Well, they're like, all right, well, show up to camp, bro. And the second media day rolls around. Mel's like, oh, fuck that. He went to Oklahoma City. And then they ended up getting Mitchell Robinson, whatever. I think it's going to be something like that. There's no way. I know it's the Nets and it's a softer landing spot. We I'm not even mocking. It's different than going to a Knicks media day, but you think he's gonna want to go there and show up with and take pictures with the Nets jerseys on and be like, "Yo, Nets, let's go!" Like do all that kind of crap at media day when he just demanded a trade and demanded the GM and coach get fired and he looks like a freaking fool. Like he's not going to show up to that.
I'll get defensive on that one part. First of all, the Knicks don't have media days, so I have no idea what that even looks like.
They don't have media days? Yeah, they do.
No, they're not allowed to.
Oh, well, the media, you know what I mean? With the promo days where they take pictures of the freaking themselves in the jerseys and the things.
Kevin Durant at media day would be the biggest New York media circus you've ever seen.
Do you think he wants that?
But no, I'm just telling you, this is not like the Nets have arrived. This is everybody.
National, worldwide story.
Hear him talk.
Yeah.
And he hasn't talked. This would be beyond anything we've seen.
Right.
Not for good reason.
And Kyrie too.
It would be like to be like Kevin Durant at the platform. Every national media member would be there. Every local spot would be there. And to the Knicks' credit, no one would be there because they'd be boring in the good ways. I guess Donovan Mitchell you'd be interested in hearing from. But other than that, like this would be an
but this is different than Donovan Mitchell.
Must listen. Kevin Durant speaks. It would trump anything Nick related for all the wrong. It would be the biggest story in sports. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Durant speaks. You'd want to hear what he has to say.
But imagine if he was a Nick and that was happening. Actually, probably doesn't even matter.
I don't think
you're right. It probably doesn't matter because he's such a. It's like LeBron. It's like LeBron in Cleveland. It doesn't matter where he is. He's LeBron. I get it. I get what you're saying. You're right. But also, you're right because I was going to try to finish the Donovan Mitchell point for you, but for me, and I was thinking that while you were talking. Sorry, I'm rambling again, trying to collect my thoughts. Okay, I'm here. The Donovan Mitchell. If let's say it's traded to the Knicks, like, we're going to want to hear from him, but it's going to be like generic, like, this is where I always wanted to be. I grew up here. Like, okay, great. Yeah, we got the quote. You're holding the jersey, throw it on the front of the newspaper. Great.
Be fine.
Job. Kevin Durant is like a whole different level. He's on Twitter. He thinks he's mocking people when he's just really making himself look like a fool now at this point. Like, I don't think anybody thinks it's cute anymore what he's doing. And it's just, is he that is he that, like, what's the term? Not self-aware? Or does he just not give a shit? Because he's just either delusional or he just doesn't care of how he looks on Twitter right now, mocking people and fans for being upset with him. Just shows that he's either out of touch with reality or he doesn't give a shit.
There are Net fans that will defend anything he does.
Of course.
We'll just defend anything he does. He's always right. The media is always wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, he's definitely put himself in a position where he's taken it now, and he's put himself in a bad spot. Yeah, I mean, it's people are like interested in knowing. I saw a little Twitter back and forth exchange where Durant said something and somebody asked, like, yeah, I want to know why you don't want to be here. And somebody was like, he doesn't owe you an explanation. He doesn't owe an explanation. It's like, well, he committed for 4 years. I'm in love with the franchise. I think I'm a little interested to know why he wants to go. I think that's fair to want to have an answer for that. If he wants to not be a Net, I think that's fair to know what happened. Why did you change your mind? And he doesn't have to. But
it's like, get away here, you silly fans. What the hell do I care?
This is why I'm a big proponent of the media, because you need answers. Like I'm sorry. Like, if you don't have the media.
But it was Jalen Brunson's day. It was Jalen Brunson's day.
Dude, now I'm just thinking about like Kevin Durant showing up and what that circus would be like.
But
and the questions would be crazy.
Remember when his first media day with the Nets, and Nets fans, like, he was injured, but he was walking.
Yeah,
and he was wearing the jersey and the uniform, and you guys were over the moon excited. Like, is this fake? Is this? And like, rightfully so. It's exciting. But now you think he's going to show up and take pictures in the uniform?
No.
Can you imagine?
He shows up in a Celtics uniform that he bought at Modell's. And he's got the
Oh,
it's
man.
like a it's the Jason Tatum jersey, and he's just walking
yeah.
around with like the
Show up in he should show up in a
18
Texas uniform, and it's a college uniform or something.
$18 shorts from Modell's that are the Celtics.
Without a haircut and just like ready to, like doesn't care.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
he said on
that's
Nets, the
insane.
original Nets media day, he liked Kenny Atkinson from watching YouTube clips.
Right.
Well, he was
right.
full of shit.
Yeah. This is your guy, man. This is the guy.
I want him back, man. Let's run it back.
Yeah, you have no
Run it
choice.
back.
I mean, honestly, but
Let's run it
I
back.
just
But I could trick myself into like Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons. You got Kyrie Irving. I mean, I can do it. I can trick myself. I can play that game.
you can we're gonna play that game soon.
Like we're gonna play that game. So yes, good segue. So as we mentioned when we started the episode here on number 130, we're gonna be doing a little opposite day. Alex will defend everything that is Nets and be more pro net. I'll be a little more pro Nick, and we'll do kind of opposite on our opinions. Things, clearly, Alex's opinion on RJ Barrett, my opinion on the Barclays Center versus Madison Square Garden, and different things like that. So we're bringing in a celebrity host, Lee Valentin. He's amazing on Twitter. Follow him, Lee O. Valentin, great comedian. Alex saw one of his shows in New York City. He's got
Downtown.
an amazing post that's just up right now about Nick podcasters on Twitter that I highly recommend everybody gets to see. So, Alex, I'm excited here to do a little role reversal and get you to give some love for the Nets and see if I give some love for the Knicks. And I it's going to be fun to hear you love the Nets. I'm going to enjoy that.
Yeah, it was not fun, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was all in fun. It's the opposite day. Just enjoy.
All right, here's Lee Valentin with us. Little role reversal, opposite day on Bad Weather Fans.
All right, welcome to Bad Weather Fans podcast. I'm your host, Steve Harvey, and we have on the Nets side we have Mike Biseglia, and on the Knicks side we have Alex Besenowitz. And
okay.
we're just gonna ask a couple of questions, and what's funny is that I received these questions. We're gonna ask a couple of questions to each of you, and you guys are gonna have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer each question. And then Alex, when it's your turn, Mike will get a chance to have a rebuttal. So those are the rules of the game. I'm gonna flip a coin to see who goes first, and I had to dig in between my couches to get this coin. So you guys better make this good. Mike, you choose heads or tails?
I'll choose heads.
It's heads. You want to go first or you want to defer?
I'll go first.
All right.
Let's I'm nervous, Lee.
You should be. And by the way, these messages were sent from the president, Donald J. Trump, and they were signed, "I'm not selling the team." So there's that.
Perfect.
And the first question is and he titled it "Topics for Mini Mike."
That's me. Yes, very small.
All right. First question is, why has RJ Barrett's development and accomplishments been diminished, and explain why he's worthy of a rookie max extension?
That's
the time starts now.
Okay. Wow. I was really excited. I jumped you on that. Well, that's really easy. First off, when you look at RJ Barrett's development, people forget when he was coming out of early in Duke, he was rated higher than Zion Williamson. And people have this idea like, oh, Zion was number one. RJ Barrett was the guy that people had thought of and had seen as the number one pick. We know what happened with Zion in that season at Duke, and that's what had happened. But RJ Barrett hasn't gotten a fair shake as he's been in New York because of the other two guys there, in Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. But slowly and surely, he has improved every single year, first year, second year, third year, and has taken that leap into what I believe is an all-star caliber player and star player. So for the Knicks right now to have an all-star in their lap and to not give him a max contract would just be absolutely ridiculous. And there's this whole point from the media, especially like ESPN and all these people out there. Let me not give RJ Barrett the money. Let's diminish his skills. But as you'll see now, as the Knicks are on national TV, what is it, 24 times or something this year, 16 times, he's going to get more views. He's going to get more recognition. And all of a sudden, all the people this year will be like, oh, RJ Barrett's pretty good. Oh, he's an all-star. Oh, I didn't realize how good he was. And all of that national media attention will realize that RJ Barrett's somebody that can defend the perimeter. His jump shot's improved. And most importantly, I think he's a guy that can lead this team. We got to get rid of Julius Randle, let him take the lead, and you're going to see an RJ Barrett all-star, and people will be talking about in 3 or 4 years. That's the money RJ Barrett makes. This is a deal. This is a guy the Knicks need to keep long-term.
Okay, time. All right.
Wow, that was a good mental clock, by the way.
Yeah, you're a well-informed Nets fan, by the way. I don't believe the hat either. You're really a closet Knicks fan. I love it.
RJ Barrett. Wow, he's great.
All right, Alex, you want to rebut or you want to go on to your question?
Do I get extra points for rebuttal?
You're rebuttaling here.
Okay, I'll rebuttal. Should we do a 30-second rebuttal?
Yeah, you got 30 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
Okay, well, RJ Barrett, while he looks like he's a great player, like he puts it on the floor, he's a volume shooter. He's just a volume shooter. And Stephen A. Smith said he can't go right, so he can't go right. So what are we doing here? Why are we even discussing him amongst the people like Ja Morant? Ja Morant is amazing. He can dunk it on anybody. Zion Williamson has played 85 games and has shown that he's a Hall of Famer. And RJ Barrett, yeah, he plays every game, but you know what? He doesn't play it as great as they do. So there's that.
That answer sucked.
Time. Wait, what are we doing here?
Who was better?
I thought Alex was all in on RJ Barrett. For the great answer, I'm going to give it to Alex because that wasn't believable at all. So that answer wasn't believable at all.
Your defending of RJ Barrett was just making condescending remarks about Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. You couldn't even do it.
I couldn't.
Unbelievable.
I tried.
So for the way more entertaining answer, I'm going to go with Alex. Alex won. All right. So Alex, this question is for you. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock. Why is keeping Julius Randle the smart decision for the Knicks? Your time starts now.
Oh, that's easy. Julius Randle, look at the numbers he puts up. Just first of all, look at the numbers he put up. Look at the numbers he put up with the Lakers. Look at the numbers he put up with the Pelicans. He's always been dominating. He always crashes the boards. He always is scoring every game. You know, there's no way that he's going to regress again. He's going to step up. He had a rough season, but you know what? And not everybody can be an all-star every single season. There's only a special few that can be an all-star every single season. He got paid, sure, but you know what? He had the second kid last year. That probably hurt him. And now he's going to come back. Now the kid is going to be a year old and he's going to be fine. Kendra's got that house on lock now and everything's going to be fine. And we're going to be great. And Julius Randle is going to crush it. He's going to have Tibbs there again. Now he has Jalen Brunson, so he doesn't have to bring the ball up. Julius Randle is going to be an all-star again and all-NBA first teamer this time because second team he's way better than that. And he's just really going to step up. And the Knicks fans are just really too hard on him. They really need to give him a better chance because it's really not fair to judge him on his worst moments. Because would we judge you on your worst moments when you were 25 years old? I don't think so.
That's all you do on Twitter. Judge
well,
my worst moments.
He's 28, so this is
whatever.
You got 10 seconds left.
No, Julius Randle for MVP this year. Lock it up.
I'm ready on my rebuttal. First of all, I think that's complete hogwash. I mean, the guy has shown that he is a locker room cancer. He can't do anything right with his teammates. When he's on the court, Obi Toppin doesn't get to play. And you know what? Obi Toppin might be the best player in the NBA, according to Knicks Twitter that I've seen. When he's on the court, the Knicks don't lose. He scores 35 points per game and he can dunk. If we're going to put Julius Randle out there, we're going to lose Obi Toppin and we're going to lose games. Quite frankly, I hope Obi doesn't go in the Donovan Mitchell trade. I mean, that would just be insane. But anyway, that's for another time.
All right. Terrible answer, but I'll allow it. All right, for that believable answer, I'll go with Mike. A point from Mike.
1-1, huh? 1-1.
All right.
Okay. 1-1. All right. Here's your next question. Mike, why is James Dolan a better owner than Joe Tsai? Your time starts now.
Well, first of all, he understands that it's a players' league. I mean, look at Joe Tsai and what he's done. He had a generational talent in Kevin Durant. on the team, and he's deciding to pick Steve Nash over Kevin Durant, it doesn't even really matter what James Dolan does with this roster because that decision was made. And I got to give credit to Dolan. Think about what he has done with this roster recently, that he's laid off a little bit. He hasn't been as involved. We see the success with the Rangers. I mean, they're a phenomenal team. The Knicks are the Rangers, just a year or two behind. He's letting young players develop. He's taking his hands off. And those guys are showing growth. Joe Tsai, meanwhile, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's going to choose a coach that's not good at his job, a GM who's fine. I guess he rebuilt the team a little bit, but let's think about this other part of him. He has done a terrible job the last 2 seasons with the roster he's had, and Joe Tsai is going to pick those guys over Kevin Durant. That is simply such bad business. You know that James Dolan would never do that. He would go into the locker room and he would speak to the players and he would tell them how great of a job they're doing, and he would make the right decisions. If Julius Randle or RJ Barrett, one of the superstars on the Knicks, came to James Dolan and said, I don't want Coach Thibodeau here, he needs to go, you know what? James Dolan would listen to Julius Randle. James Dolan would listen to RJ Barrett. You don't get that with Joe Tsai, and I'm sick of it.
All right. Time's up. You sound like a homer. I'm sorry.
Hey, that was the question. You know, Dolan's the guy. He's
That's very homerish.
So now I have to defend Joe Tsai, I guess, right?
What a Knicks homer.
Good luck.
All right, Alex, you got 30 seconds with your rebuttal. Your time starts now.
Honestly, what would you want Joe Tsai to do in this situation? He's forgotten more about business than these guys have done. He's a billionaire. These guys make more money than these guys do on their season contracts than he does in 5 minutes. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing, knows what's happening. If he's going to go out there and tell Kyrie that he's not going to give him a long-term deal, then you should believe him. He's a billionaire. He knows what he's talking about. He has more power than you do. So you know what? How can you say that he doesn't? You know, he's got that. You know, he's that kind of guy that can really change everything, and he has. And look what he's done. He's built the culture there in Brooklyn. And you know, Dolan is just
don't get me,
line of mess.
Alex. Don't get me started on the culture stuff. You're obsessed with how important the culture is for the Nets. You've been on Twitter for your whole life talking about Nets culture. I'm sick of it.
Wow.
Culture.
A rebuttal to a rebuttal. All right, that's 1 point for Mike now with that. With the added rebuttal, you got to give him a point for that.
The bonus
and
rebuttal.
He sounds like a homer, so yeah, that's definitely a point for him.
It's
All
easy
right,
talking
Alex.
like a Knicks fan.
2-1
It's
Mike,
not
then.
hard at all. Oh my God,
Spoken like a true Knicks fan.
easy.
Delusional.
Oh, this is easy money.
All right, Alex. 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock. Why is Tom Thibodeau the right coach for the 2022-2023 Knicks team? Your time starts now.
Oh, this is gonna be tough. All right. Well, Tibbs has won Coach of the Year several times in his career, right? He's forgotten more about coaching than you even know about coaching. Have you watched the tape? Have you watched the tape? Have you broken down the film like Tom Thibodeau has? What?
Not 3 times, but yeah.
Not 3 times. No, he watches it 10 times. That's much he cares. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't get laid. He doesn't care. All he cares about is basketball. Basketball, 24/7, 365 and 366 on a leap year. That is Tom Thibodeau's life, is basketball. And guess what? If he says a young player shouldn't play, then he is right. And if he says that it's okay for Julius Randle to throw a laptop in an assistant coach's face, then he is right. And he should play 40 minutes a night after that. No doubt about it. Tibbs knows what he's doing. He's been on benches with other great Hall of Fame coaches before. He's won championships as an assistant. He knows what he's doing. And you should not question Tibbs. He has, like, if you have a coach with no hair, that means you're a better coach than most of the other coaches with hair. That's just how it is. That's just the facts of the matter of what's going on. And Tibbs literally has brought the Knicks more in his first season here than the last 4 coaches. So I don't know why you would want to get rid of him. You're just pathetic, and you're impatient, and give him more time.
All right.
Is that a minute? I don't know how long.
Yep.
Minute and a
That
half.
was long enough.
Time. Mike, your rebuttal?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it this way, and I'm surprised Alex has that opinion, but not surprised. When you look at the matter here, Tom Thibodeau is a guy that likes to play older players. And the Knicks, as I've mentioned before, have so much young breaking talent. They've got a guy in Obi Toppin who I think can be an all-legitimate all-NBA first team. If there was a team ahead of the all-NBA first team, Obi would be there. And I'm surprised to hear that, because when Thibodeau's there, he's going to stunt the growth of the younger players. And ultimately, that's what matters, because this is a rebuild with some younger stars on this roster. Coach Tom Thibodeau is not the guy right now. I'm sorry, Alex.
All right, time. Alex, I know how difficult that was for you to say. I can see you trembling, and I know you don't believe anything, but it was very believable to me. It sounded good. So that's another point for Alex.
Nice.
2-2.
2-2. All right. It's close. Look, he's nervous. He's drinking water. This is
not
getting
water.
tight.
Yeah.
We got 2 questions left.
Yeah.
Mike, it's on you. You got a minute and a half to answer this next question. Question number 3 is, why is Sean Marks an overrated executive? Your time starts now.
Well, I might agree with this. Well, we'll go back to the early parts of the Sean Marks issues. And I love how all Net fans, right, they always have to go back to Sean Marks and talk about what he did early on. Yeah, the Nets had no draft. Like, to me, Sean Marks should be thanking Billy King, because if Billy King didn't make the moves that he did, Sean Marks wouldn't even have a job to make this so-called rebuild. I think how difficult is it to swap draft picks, swap to get more picks? I'm having a hard time here. How hard is it to make those moves to add draft picks? The team was gutted. They had no picks. They had to make those moves. And this whole Sean Marks is living on the past. I think we'll go with that angle, okay? We'll go with that angle. Sean Marks is living on the past. He made a couple of sweet moves that were worked out, but it's, what have you done for me lately? Kevin Durant is going to be gone. Kyrie Irving is going to be gone. And let's be real, were they really even good signings to begin with? Kevin Durant was coming off this really bad Achilles injury. He hasn't lived up to how good he could have been. He's only half the level he was in Golden State. I mean, Kyrie Irving, when he plays, is good, I guess, but he hasn't done much. And then Sean Marks went ahead and dealt Karis LeVert. He went ahead and dealt Jared Allen and got James Harden, who we all know what happened there, Net fans, right? That ended up turning into Ben Simmons. Hey, Net fans, let me ask you a question. How many games has Ben Simmons played this year, in the last year? The answer is 0. The guy doesn't even play. And why would any Net fans be hopeful that he will play? We know he won't. Your whole fan base is delusional if you think that. So it's ridiculous. So Sean Marks living on his past instead of living on what's his accomplishments later. And that's been a major issue. I think I need 5 minutes to just bash how bad Sean Marks is. When I tried to bash him on the early stages was difficult, because he did a decent job there. And I couldn't in my brain come up with a way to put down turning a team that had nothing into at least a playoff team. So I went with the second half there, and hopefully I won you over, Lee, as I'm rambling now.
Well, I'll tell you why. The real reason why Sean Marks is overrated is because he didn't pick those players. Those players picked the Nets because they were too scared to go to New York. So there goes your answer.
No, you're right. It's amazing too, after hearing all these Net fans talk about oh, Brooklyn, this, Brooklyn. Do you know how hard it is to play at Madison Square Garden? Billy Joel can't even do it anymore. It's so difficult. It's ridiculous.
Bringing Billy Joel into this.
Bruce Springsteen doesn't go there. He has to go to New Jersey.
Lay off Long Island, okay? Lay off Long Island. That's all right.
Sure. Nothing's like being at the Garden. I swear to God, the air's better there. Anyway.
He's taking his anger to musicians now. I love it. I love it.
So
all right, Alex, your chance to rebut, and your 30-second timer starts right now.
So how can you call Sean Marks overrated? It's absolutely insane. The guy has found guys like Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie. Look at this guy. They got him out of nowhere. And yeah, they didn't sign him, but he got hurt, and Karis LeVert is just amazing. And these are all all-star caliber players. And then when the guys Durant and Kyrie wanted to come to the Nets, how do you say no? Yeah, he brought in DeAndre Jordan, but it was a package deal. How do you say no to that? But look at the totality of his tenure with the Nets. He got D'Angelo Russell. He turned a snitch into an all-star. Who can do that? Come on.
Time. All right, Alex, that was a good rebuttal. I don't think that any Knicks fan would say that Kyrie hasn't done anything, Mike. So that's why I'm going to give this point to Alex.
Okay, so now it's 3-2. So this is for it all then. This last one.
This is for all the marbles. This is for all the cakes. Mike, you want to take another sip of water?
No.
I thought I was going to get you with that snitch to an all-star line at the end, but I got nothing out of that one.
Well, I'm upset I'm losing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Final question goes to Alex. Alex, you have a minute and 30 seconds to answer this last question. By the way, this segment of the show is sponsored by Dolan J. Trump, who's not selling the Knicks. All right. Last question. Why should the Knicks pass on Donovan Mitchell? Your time starts now.
Oh man, he can't play defense. He can't play defense. He can't shoot. He is never won anything. The only time he ever played well in the playoffs was in the bubble, and that's just not even real. I mean, those championship by the Lakers doesn't even count. It's just, come on. It's insane. We already had a guy here in Julius Randle who was great in the bubble or with no fans, and then stunk when the fans were there. So why would we want another guy like that? He can't win. If he was so great, they would have traded him for more, and he would have been going somewhere else as well. And it's just insane to say that Donovan Mitchell is going to change the face of the franchise. I wouldn't trade Emmanuel quickly for him. I would have traded Obi Toppin for him. I would have traded Quentin Grimes for him. Maybe I'd trade Deuce McBride for Donovan Mitchell. Maybe in a couple seconds. Come on. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we don't need this. We don't need this. You saw Obi Toppin. He had 42 points against the Raptors in the last game of the season, if that's what they played. I forgot. It was just a bunch of nobodies running around like a rec league game. And look at Obi Toppin in the rec league games, in the practice games. He's dunking on everybody. What the hell do we need Donovan Mitchell for? Emmanuel quickly is the future. Quentin Grimes is a 3-and-D. Allen Houston reincarnated is Quentin Grimes. Why do we need Donovan Mitchell? Let's be real here. Let's be real. Yeah, he can dunk, but so can a lot of people. So could Gerald Green. What the hell is he? So come on.
Wow. You got 5 seconds.
Don't trade for Donovan Mitchell.
Okay. Don't trade for Donovan Mitchell. I know that was hard for you, Alex.
That was that was fake, guys. That was fake. Don't
No,
flip
it was
that.
real. It was real. Take that 90 seconds and blow it up.
All right. Your rebuttal, Mike? You got 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Yeah, the Knicks need to get Donovan Mitchell on this roster and get a true star here. And I think what happens when you have Donovan Mitchell there is all of a sudden now other stars could potentially come. And then you start thinking about it. You got Donovan Mitchell, who's 25 years old, hasn't even seen the peak of his performance. He's only getting better, and he's already had this type of career, and he's doing this in Utah. And I think of the excitement and the energy that he'll bring to the Garden. It'll be through the roof, and fans will have an amazing time with it. And all of a sudden, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got Jalen Brunson, you got RJ Barrett. You've got a squad. I'm not saying right now they're the best team in the East, but you put that together, you let them grow up. Look what happened with the Boston Celtics. They had some young players. All of a sudden, they're in the NBA Finals. You're going to tell me that you have 3 Knicks stars at 25 years old enjoying the Knick nightlife, when the Knicks are in the NBA Finals with Donovan Mitchell. Will we play this video for Alex? And we'll remind him just how good Donovan Mitchell is after he's one of the biggest Donovan Mitchell haters out there. And RJ Barrett, apparently, too.
Wow. All right. We went a little bit over time, but that was a good rebuttal. I like that answer. Very realistic, very good answer. I'm going to give the last point to Mike. So we're all tied 3-3. I haven't thought about how we're going to use a tiebreaker, but I'll do this. Let me think of a question real quick for
while you're thinking of a question, the writer, think about this, the writer, Dolan J. Trump, he gave 6 questions. How many, when an NBA series, I know it's been a long time for him and his franchise with playoffs, but they're best out of 7. They're not best out of 6. You don't go to the Garden. Oh, it's 3-3. No, you have a game 7. Dolan, you need a 7th question. That's not good. That's dumb. Bad job.
Well,
love you, Dolan. Buy his merch.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask this question. This question is for you, Mike. We'll start with you, and then Alex, you'll have your chance at a rebuttal. Mike, why is it easier to play at the Barclays? Why is it an easier place to play at the Barclays?
I'm glad you asked that. It's the best question I've heard so far tonight. So thank you for that question.
Suck up to the
first of all, I mean, we'll start with the other arena that's in the same town, and that's the Garden. There's nothing like playing at the Garden. I don't care what anybody says. I've been to games in Boston. I've been to games in Philly. They're really good. But the passion that the Knicks fan brings is incredible. And I think, unfortunately, for the Barclays Center, it's not that the Barclays Center is a bad place to play. It's just generic NBA arena. It gets loud when things are going well. If the team's going good in the fourth quarter, it becomes a scene. I get that. But the Garden, last season in the preseason game, Julius Randle hit a game-winning shot. The place went crazy and erupted. So that energy there just changes the whole landscape of it. So your original question was, why is Barclays Center easier to play? Is that what we had? It's because there's no history. There's no vibe. It's just a place. Like MSG is part of the history and the fabric of the NBA. So net fans can say, oh, it's great. It's a scene. We've got celebrities here. It's fun. Yeah, it's a cool arena and it's a nice spot. But in the history and of what we have in basketball, it's not Madison Square Garden. It never will be. And unfortunately, there's guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving that didn't want to have that smoke, didn't want to go into the Garden and deal with what comes with it. And they went to Barclays Center and took the easy way out. And I mean, yeah, it sucked if you're a Knicks fan because you would like if they had signed. But the reality of it is they're almost their own worst enemy because of how difficult it is to play there. And guys like Kevin Durant that just want to take the easy way out, they went to Brooklyn and got New York Light.
All right, time. Alex, I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds for your rebuttal since this is the game 7 for the win. All right.
Okay.
The question is, why is it easier to play at the Barclays? Your time starts now.
Oh, it's easier to play at the Barclays because people want to be there, because people want to actually be there. You can afford a ticket. You don't have to be, Spike Lee or Fat Joe to go to a game. You can, or his cousin. You can be at the game. You can actually go and sit courtside, or maybe not even courtside, maybe like fifth row, $100 and be like, wow, look, we're here. You got an old guy dancing under the hoop during free throws. What's better than that? You got the music pumping, the hip hop, everybody's there. You got a Biggie banner. I mean, you got a Biggie banner. How can so his spirit is there so you can play the songs. You can wear Brooklyn at, of course, it's a better place to play. It just looks, it's fancy with the outside siding. It's, we knocked down some houses to build it, and it's great, man. Why wouldn't you want to be there? It's like, it's beautiful. And that's why the stars came. The stars will continue to come, because who wants to be Madison Square Garden? It's the Mecca, sure, yeah, in the Mecca, okay, of the 1990s. Yeah, but they practice up in Westchester. They don't even practice at the Garden. They practice up in freaking Westchester in Tarrytown. That's not even close to the Garden. They practice in Brooklyn. You ever seen those practice facilities? It's so much better on the players to just be able to walk to the Barclays Center, to take an Uber and be right there instead of going through traffic, going on the BQE, on whatever the hell you're going. I don't go from Westchester ever, because who the hell wants to be up in Westchester? And you're going down. Like, what are we doing here? You got to go down the West Side Highway, get to the Garden, and sit in traffic like a bunch of schmucks. What are we doing at the Barclays Center? You can just be right there, and it's all it's more new age. It's easier. It's fun. The vibe is there, and it's just a better place to be.
No, I have to go. You just sound like one of these new age net fans. It just has to be like, oh, it's fun, the vibe,
that's your
the
fan
energy.
base, bro.
I understand. And then you're ripping the 90s Knicks. Like, I'm sorry. Like, do the Nets have a history like that? The 90s Knicks, I swear, like, I know people that were there. It was amazing. You talk about that experience in there. Michael Jordan, seeing Reggie Miller. There were no games like that. You go to the Barclays Center. Charles Barkley said it on TNT. I mean, he said it was like going to a funeral. It's like it's dead in there.
If Charles
like,
Barkley said something, then it must be facts.
It's a big
Charles
talent.
Barkley
Alex, that's a big deal. The MSG, it's like the league appreciates it, they understand it, and it's just typical Nets fan. Let me hype up.
Listen,
the Barclays
you got a cool
Center
ceiling, okay, at the Garden, cool ceiling. But you know what? Like, yeah, when you're building that history, we were stuck in the Continental or the Brendan Byrne, whatever it was over there. Now we're here, and you're just jealous, and that's just what it is. I'm sorry, you're just jealous that we have a nicer arena.
History.
I'm sorry.
History.
That was a great rebuttal, Alex. Very, very good rebuttal. Mike, although I did like your initial answer, I thought, it was good. It was very believable, but I have to give this round to Alex.
That's right.
Well, defending the Nets is easy. I mean, it was an easier question to defend because the Barclays Center is amazing. So it lend itself to winning that. So, but fine, I'll take it.
So you win by losing. So
yeah.
It's all good.
Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly. Well, that was a great tiebreaker question. It was a great tiebreaker question.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I hope we can do this again, man. That would be really cool if we can do this again.
Yeah, we got to have you back on, do some more things. You know, we had Leon earlier. That was fun also. Real quick, what's your thoughts on Donovan Mitchell? Your real thoughts, not fake
My
thoughts.
real thoughts are what they should do is, here's the problem. I trust the front office, right? I sound like Mike in one of those earlier answers. I think they're going to do whatever it takes to get it done, but they also have to protect themselves, right? They have to make sure that they're not getting fleeced. And I can respect that. You know, the way Danny Ainge is, you know, going through the media and talking about, you know, he has other deals on the table is kind of ridiculous. And it's almost transparent. Like, you know that he's doing this. And of course he should, right? He should get the most for his deal. But I'm glad that these guys know the market. They know they're looking towards the future. They have an understanding of team needs, and they have a vision of what it is that they want and what they want their team to look like. I think people are a little bit, you know, going crazy, like fans and media members talking about the guys who they're not going to give up, which is probably not true. We don't know. I think they'll be willing to give up anybody within reason, but they also want to have a good competitive team, because they know if they lose all of these guys, Donovan Mitchell is gone in 2 years. So they're going to make the smart decision, and I'm confident we'll get him. He'll be a Knick. He'll be playing against Utah later in this year on national TV on TNT, and it's going to be great, man. It's going to be really good to see.
That's fair.
I'm just happy that I've been on just as many times as Richard Jefferson. It feels good. I'm coming for Donald for Dolan J. Trump's title of being on here 8 times, but one show at a time.
Yeah, it's him and Evan. Evan was on how many times? 3 times also?
Yeah, Evan was on a few times, maybe 3. Yeah, so I'm coming.
Right. You're coming there,
right.
yeah.
Well,
climbing up the leaderboard, man. Yeah.
And you had a video. Follow you on Twitter. Give the info. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but you had a very funny video about Knicks podcasters tonight that you dropped on Wednesday evening at like 9 something, which was a must watch. Yeah, so follow Lee on Twitter. What's the handle again, Lee? I just don't know.
At Leo Valentin.
Yeah, that was funny. You made me laugh.
Yeah,
you made me laugh. When you said 38, I lost it. I listened with my wife too. She enjoyed it.
It's not a shot to anyone in particular. It's just
yeah.
You gotta laugh at yourself. You gotta laugh at yourself, right? I mean, if you can't enjoy that, you're taking this too seriously. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I saw that and it's relatable stuff. It's funny. So if you can't laugh at that, you're not right. You're not gonna last doing this.
I hope it ruffles some feathers, because apparently if you're start a beef on Knicks Twitter, you're saying something. So I like to.
There you go.
I like to be seen more.
Just wait till Papa Left sees it, and then it's over.
I'm obsessed with Knicks spaces and Twitter. They're phenomenal. I mean, they're so much fun. I always want to talk. I'm a little scared, but they're so funny. I mean, really, like just pure enjoyment.
You go there for the entertainment, not
totally.
For the
No, not for the opinions. I could do without those. But yeah, the entertainment's amazing. Well, Lee, thank you for hosting this reverse bad weather fans net Nick opinions, as we have heard every opinion in the whole world now on these topics with Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell trade over the last 4 weeks plus. So thank you for hosting that. We will definitely have to do it again. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the night, man.
All right, a lot of fun. Thank you again, Lee, for hosting and putting that together with us. Thank you to our writers, Dolan J. Trump, assistant writer, Evan Roberts, and Alex. You came out with a 4-3 series victory, that 7th and decisive game. Good thing you had it at the Barclays Center with that big home court.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, and speaking of Lee, our host, I just wanted to give him another quick pop. I saw him downtown at 107 McDougal. He's there almost every night, does the shows. So check him out. Great stand-up comic. I had a lot of fun. But anyway, trashing the Garden was really tough, and pumping up the Barclays. I tried to get a little subtle shots in there as I was going through it. Like
I noticed.
The RJ Barrett one I couldn't do.
That bothered me. You're like, you were giving jabs at Zion and Ja. You're like, oh, Zion Williams played 85 games in 3 years. Like, I was like, you're not being a dick. I didn't
But
like that.
the Garden and the you know, the Barclays, that one was good. That was I started getting warmed up as we're going through it. So whatever.
Nah, good
But I
stuff. We'll do
win.
more. We'll do more of that
Yeah.
as we
So
continue
different
to
kinds of
grow.
games, trivia games,
Yeah.
all types of fun little quirks as we go
See,
through.
Alex, the different aspects of Bad Weather Fans. You got great interviews. We've
Right.
got little game shows. I mean,
Yeah. Well, what's funny is like
topic opinions.
Lee is now number 2 all time in guest appearances on Bad Weather Fans. You know, he's tied for second with Richard Jefferson with 2. Because we had Evan Roberts and Dolan J. Trump are tied with 3 in first. So Lee and Richard Jefferson are 2. Because I don't think we had anybody else twice.
Not that I can think of. I think that's it. And Dolan,
That's
got
it.
pissed at me because I put together like some of our greatest guest lists, and I
And you weren't-
tweeted it out,
you
and I
wasn't on it.
forgot to add him.
Yeah.
I think he's just that good of a guest.
Yeah.
that
Well, he's like
I
a
forgot.
co-host of he's the backup co-host of the show. You know what I'm saying? Like one of us is
Right.
out, he's in. So he's like part of the show. But you know what's funny is he's climbing up that leaderboard, man. He's like LeBron going for the scoring title, man. He's got another couple to go. He'll be there soon.
I just had this weird vision of I won't say his real name, but Dolan J. Trump in a Jets jersey on the side, just throwing a football, like warming up as the backup. Like I saw his body in some Jets gear throwing a football, and now I can't get that thought out of my head.
That's a bad image. You know, it's funny, real quick on the LeBron thing, actually, I wanted to bring this up before I forgot. They actually maneuvered the Knicks schedule and the Lakers schedule where around that time, if he scores his average, he could be breaking the record at the Garden. And people are saying that they did that on purpose. That they want him to, if he's going to break the record, and he has to be on the road. They wanted to be at the Garden, and the net they play the Nets before that. But I'm just saying, like based on averages, you know, like they said, it'll be around this like 8-game span if he stays healthy, and the Knicks are like the 3rd or 4th one in that span, so it could happen at that time.
Well, I hope he does it at the Garden. It's the Mecca. It's one of the greatest places. I mean,
but
truly, I think it'd be cool.
That is a record you stand up and you cheer for. The scoring record, I don't care what team you're on, you stand up and you cheer. That's like something that's not going to be broken tomorrow. Like the Steph Curry 3-point record, like give me a break. You know, nobody knew about that record 10 years ago. But this is the scoring record breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like no, that's somebody. Incredible. Yeah, you stand up
and it's LeBron. It's LeBron.
Yeah, and it's LeBron. You know, anyway.
Yeah, no, I understand. And geez, of course it'll be at the Garden. I hope it's like
it could be at Barclays, man.
I hope it's could it be in Cleveland? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know where that list. I gotta find it. So keep talking. I'll find it.
No, where it happens doesn't matter. But I just we'll keep an eye on that. That'll be one of the.
Okay. Well, here's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 10-game stretch where it could happen. It's January 20. Where's it at? 28th. So it's at Celtics, at Nets, at Knicks, at Pacers, at Pelicans. Thunder at home, Bucks at home, at Warriors, at Blazers, and then Pelicans at home. You know they don't want it to happen in New Orleans. You know that. Maybe Indiana, because that's like a hotbed for basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like real basketball, you know, chest passes and, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. But, you know, you can't break the record in New Orleans. You just can't. You know, so
I hope it happens at the Garden for his sake. I'm sure he would like that too. I think he'd be into that. I think
it's a back-to-back. Knicks and Nets back-to-back. So Nets January 30th and Knicks January 31st. So maybe he'll sit out the second half of the back-to-back at the Garden. Right, LeBron sitting out at the Garden. He'll never do that.
Oh no, he'll never do that.
But like 3 points from the record, like I'm gonna take a rest day.
Yeah, next game for the Lakers. They're on the road versus the Kings. Not that
Pelicans.
Would be weird. The Pelicans, yeah.
Pacers and the Pelicans.
God, not the same. The NBA schedule did come out as well. Just hint upon that. Knicks, Christmas Day. Nets not on Christmas anymore. I thought this was funny tweet. It's from Miggs Del Brigade. He's a good fan and listens to Bad Weather Fans. He's a big Nets fan. He wrote, NBA fans cry when they don't have nationally televised games, then cry when they do have them because they hate the broadcast. It's very funny. It's perfect.
Very, very true.
Like, oh, this is great. We're on all these games. I hate these guys.
You want the respect of being on national TV, but you also don't want it as a diehard fan. You know,
no, you want to hear,
but you want to get your ego stroked. You know, like the Utah Jazz have 4, and one of them, the first one's against the Knicks,
which is probably because then I had to point this out to Tommy Beer, who didn't understand it. It's probably because of the potential Donovan Mitchell trade.
Oh, yeah. It's also, even if he doesn't get traded, it still could be a big game. Like, wow, can you believe they didn't trade him, to the Knicks, and
No,
he's still on the Knicks?
I don't think that would have any national interest. This is where
If
could have
he's
been.
still on the Jazz, it could, but not if he gets traded to like the Heat, then it doesn't matter anymore. It's
Gotcha.
just- yeah. Okay. Anyway, we can talk it forever.
This is Bad Weather Fans, episode 130. Thank you, Lee, for hosting. Thank you to our co-hosts, or I should say to our writers, Dolan J. Trump and his assistant writer, Evan Roberts, for putting that game show together. We'll be continuing to do more and more of those, having a lot of fun. And guys, in case you missed it, our interview last week with Richard Jefferson, we've got a lot of fun ones, Kara Kittles, Chris Childs, just to name a few. And follow us on Apple. Go ahead and follow on Apple. That's key for us. Download the episodes. And as we continue to build our YouTube brand, go there and subscribe, leave comments. We had a lot of great interaction on our YouTube page, in particular with the Richard Jefferson interview. We had a lot of fun comments, a lot of crazy views, and some good content. If you want to see this, if you want to see these interviews, see us on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and check that out. Alex, today was Wednesday officially. We did finish before Thursday, although we got pretty close to it. But
just before Friday. Yes.
Good stuff as always. I'm a little bitter that you won. You won game one in the series,
yes.
4-3. But I will be back for more. But anyway, Alex, good stuff as always. And I will talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.